Meghan's claims about supposed racists in the royal family have left a predictable and poisonous legacy for the last few years. We live in an age where grievances are given the benefit of the doubt, where the establishment is toxic by default, where my truth apparently means more than the truth. They knew the power their words would hold, and many people across the world took their words at face value. Now, almost 3 years on, Britain is still dealing with the fallout from this.
Night to be up and down in the middle of the night looking down my hallway like, are we safe? Are the doors locked? Is security on? Is everything? That's real. Are my babies safe? And you've created it for what? Because you're bored or because it sells your paper?
Y'all ever notice how the beef between Meghan Markle and Piers Morgan just won't die? No matter how much time passes, it keeps bubbling back up. Let's rewind to one of the wildest live TV moments ever. When Piers went off on Meghan and the whole world watched her break down in real time. This wasn't just some headline you scroll past. Nah, this was, yo, did you see that level drama? So Piers came out swinging, calling Meghan out on everything from her royal drama to her interviews, and he didn't care who was watching. Meghan tried to keep her composure, but you could see it, the tears welling up, her voice cracking, and that look that said, "Why is this happening again?" Even the other guests and hosts were shaken, looking like they wanted to disappear from the set. Social media, it lost its mind. Clips went viral, hashtags started trending, and the internet split right down the middle. Some folks were writing for Meghan, with others cheering Piers on, and the memes still undefeated. So what happened that day? Why did this moment hit so hard, and why are people still talking about it years later? Let's break it all down. Okay, let's rewind to the strange past between Meghan Markle and Piers Morgan, because this isn't just a one-time TV outburst. Their story has been years in the making, and it has more twists than a Netflix series. So Meghan Markle began as an actress and is most recognized for her performance on Suits. She was having the finest time in Hollywood, but everything changed when she began seeing Prince Harry. Suddenly, she's not simply Meghan, she's a princess, and every action she takes makes the headlines. The British media go into overdrive, covering everything from her dress choices to her family issues. However, it wasn't all glitz and glory. Meghan received a lot of criticism, much of it laced with racism and misogyny, and she has been very open about how difficult it was to deal with all of that pressure. She has spoken openly about her mental health issues and how alone she felt being a member of the royal family, particularly after marrying Harry and having their son Archie. Now comes Piers Morgan. If you know British TV, you know Piers is loud, outspoken, and never afraid to stir the pot. He's worked as a newspaper editor, a reality TV judge, and the host of Good Morning Britain. But here's a twist. Piers and Meghan met before all the controversy. They enjoyed drinks in London and sent some nice texts, and Piers assumed they were friends. But after that night, Meghan stopped responding, and she soon began dating Prince Harry. Piers felt he was being ghosted and was a little resentful. Then he started calling Meghan dishonest and accusing her of playing the victim. The true explosion occurred following Meghan and Harry's shocking interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? Suicidal thoughts?
Yes, this was very, very clear.
Meghan admitted she had suicidal thoughts and accused the royal family of bigotry. The world was horrified, but what about Piers? He went nuclear. On live TV, he flatly stated that he did not believe her, particularly on her mental health. His co-host Alex Beresford called him out, and Piers stormed off the set in a now famous TV scene. He left the show, but not before registering over 57,000 complaints with the network, including one from Meghan herself. Piers has now chosen Meghan as his favorite target, while Meghan has struggled to settle into her new life in the United States.
I'm sickened by what I've just had to watch. This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family, of the monarchy, and it's all been done as Prince
Said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no, sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe, not my own.
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
But the British press and Piers keep bringing her back into the spotlight. Their clashes have become a metaphor for larger concerns. Talk about media bullying, racism, mental health, and the power of celebrity.
So beautiful.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that one. Yeah, they're just it's just so great. This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
Meghan Markle's latest interview with Jamie Kern-Lima was unlike previous royal interviews. It was real, honest, and refreshingly down to earth. Picture this. Meghan, dressed casually in shoes and a snug sweater embroidered with her children's names and no makeup, sat across from Jamie in a pair of comfortable rocking chairs. The setting was intimate, more like two buddies catching up than a high-profile podcast.
Much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough. You have to prove that you're pretty enough. You have to prove that you're smart enough. You prove that you're a good wife or a good friend. And I was like, I am just so done with the proving. And I know the kind of mom I am, and I know the kind of human being I am, and I know how I show up. And I love being able to be that person with the people that I love. So, worthiness, maybe part of worthiness comes when you stop having to feel like you're in the prove it game.
Jamie immediately asked Meghan if she had ever felt unworthy, and Meghan did not hesitate to speak for herself. She revealed that for years she felt enormous pressure to prove herself, not to the public, but to herself. Whether it was about being clever enough, pretty enough, or even a decent enough wife and mother, Meghan admitted that the prove-it game was tiresome and never-ending. Her voice struggled as she detailed how these expectations affected her, and you could see the emotion in her eyes. It was a rare display of vulnerability from someone who is constantly scrutinized in the public eye. Meghan's willingness to be so candid set the tone for the entire interview, emphasizing that this was not about headlines or sound bites, but about revealing her truth, unguarded. As the podcast progressed, Jamie Kern-Lima decided to surprise Meghan with something truly heartfelt, a letter from Prince Harry and his children.
For the first time, he said, I'm so happy for my wife and fully support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do.
When did he say that?
This week. It's everywhere in the press. Yeah, it's beautiful. But how does so you don't know this. Okay, so you're hearing
No idea.
you're hearing this for the first time.
That's sweet.
I love that you're hearing this for the first time. He says, I'm so happy for my wife and fully supportive and support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do. How does that make you feel?
Oh, he's such a great partner.
Jamie carefully read the sentences aloud, and Meghan's whole demeanor changed. Her eyes welled up with tears, and she felt the familiar chills that come when something hits you right in the heart. The letter was filled with love, support, and thanks from Meghan's family, reminding her of the safe environment she has created at home, even when the outside world is harsh and unforgiving. Meghan was overcome with emotion after hearing those comments. She dabbed at her eyes, her voice quivering as she expressed how much it matters to her that her children will one day comprehend how fiercely she has loved and protected them. Meghan's openness at that time made her extremely relatable, especially to anyone who has ever felt overwhelmed but found strength in the people who matter most. This genuine, heartfelt reaction rapidly went viral, eliciting both support and, unsurprisingly, condemnation from the usual culprits. No discussion about Meghan Markle's public image is complete without addressing Piers Morgan, who has become nearly synonymous with her opponents. Even during this touching podcast, his presence was felt, not physically, but as a huge shadow over Meghan's every word. Piers has spent years challenging Meghan's narrative, doubting her motivations and authenticity at every opportunity. His constant commentary has impacted much of the media discourse, frequently portraying Meghan as deceptive or fake and promoting a circle of popular distrust. Although Piers was not specifically mentioned on the show, the underlying meanings were obvious. In part, Meghan's openness and vulnerability appeared to be a reaction to the unrelenting criticism she received from people like him. She talked about the pain of being misinterpreted and the annoyance of having people who don't know her truth tell her story. Tension was added to the discussion by this unstated tug-of-war between Meghan and her media critics, particularly Piers. It demonstrated how difficult it is for Meghan to break free from the narratives that are forced upon her, regardless of how honest or open she makes an effort to be. Meghan's decision to open her soul on the podcast sparked a storm of emotions on social media and in the press, in addition to providing exciting listening. Many listeners complimented her for finally letting her guard down and talking openly about her issues with self-esteem, public scrutiny, and the never-ending pressure to be perfect. For many people, Meghan's tears and honesty made her more sympathetic than ever, converting her from a distant royal figure to someone who truly understands the difficulties of modern life. However, as usual, the response was not entirely positive. Critics were quick to accuse Meghan of manipulating her vulnerability to gain sympathy and attention. Some notable media figures argued that her emotional outburst was a deliberate PR ploy intended to shift the narrative in her favor. The argument was heated, with opinion pieces and television segments analyzing every word and motion in the podcast. Despite the backlash, Meghan's straightforwardness generated vital discussions about mental health, the influence of fame, and the bravery required to be vulnerable in front of millions. Meghan's podcast moment, whether praised or criticized, demonstrated that she remains a lightning rod for public discourse.
We love your cooking. We love your pancakes. And we love, love, love your hugs. You're the best mummy, and we love you. So sweet. I also love that it's mummy, which is very British instead of mommy.
British.
Oh, yeah, they're the greatest.
And so it was kind of fun reading that to you.
Meghan concluded the episode by emphasizing hope and resilience in the wake of the intense public response and all the raw emotion. She discussed how she has learned to find strength in her family and the little moments of joy that come with being a mother, despite the relentless criticism and scrutiny. Meghan revealed that she is dedicated to using her position to support people, particularly women who feel marginalized or misinterpreted, reminding everyone that it's acceptable to be imperfect and that genuine strength comes from being open about your difficulties. She urged listening to embrace vulnerability. Meghan also talked about the significance of mental health, stating that it takes strength, not weakness, to ask for help and be honest about your thoughts. She thanked people who believe in her for their support and pledged to continue fighting for causes that are important to her, such as mental health and women's empowerment. Meghan urged everyone to find the positive in people and themselves, even when life seems overwhelming, as the episode came to a hopeful conclusion. Her message was unmistakable. If you remain true to yourself and have optimism, there is always a way forward, no matter how difficult things get.
If I have to fall on my sword for expressing an honestly held opinion about Meghan Markle and that diatribe of bilge that she came out with in that interview.
Looking ahead, both Meghan and Piers are likely to remain in the spotlight, but their paths may diverge. Meghan is expected to double down on her advocacy for mental health and social justice, possibly launching new initiatives or collaborating with organizations to support vulnerable communities. She may also use her platform to promote more open conversations about the pressures of fame and the importance of self-care. Piers, meanwhile, is unlikely to back down. If anything, this controversy will fuel his brand as a provocateur. He'll continue to court controversy, using his shows and columns to challenge public figures and stir debate. The media will keep following their every move, and their feud may even set the tone for future interviews with high-profile figures. Expect more scrutiny, more emotion, and more pressure on interviewers to strike the right balance. In the end, this isn't just about Meghan and Piers, but it's about how we talk about mental health, media responsibility, and who gets to tell their own story. The world will be watching to see if this moment leads to real change or just becomes another viral headline. As the dust settles from the live TV battle, it's apparent that this was more than just another celebrity controversy. It was a cultural moment that sparked widespread discussion. Meghan came out of the studio visibly distressed but resolute, accompanied by her team and supporters. Piers, on the other hand, embraced the controversy, appearing on talk shows and social media and saying that he was simply doing his job. The media circus didn't stop. Headlines analyzed every facial expression, pause, every tear. But behind the surface, something more deeply was taking place. Meghan's frank honesty sparked conversations on mental health, the never-ending pressures of fame, and the double standards that women, particularly women of color, face in the spotlight. Her fans hailed her as an inspiration of determination, while opponents questioned her motivation. Piers became a hero for telling it like it is, and a villain for his degree of severity, depending on who asked. In the end, the interview produced more questions than answers. Was this an important moment for how we treat prominent figures, or just another viral moment? The outcome will be determined only by time. But one thing is certain, the world won't stop watching, and this drama is far from over. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this wild royal unraveling, because it's only just getting started.